If you're a goal kicker, you have to enjoy the pressure. If you don't enjoy that pressure, there's no point.
Jimmy Gopperth, what a career that man has had. One of the best goal kickers you're ever likely to see.
The Jimmy GT till I die. In New Zealand, we weren't allowed to wear rugby boots until we were 13, I think. So I'd always be kicking with bare feet. I managed to make up a bit of a tubey grip that went on my foot just to give it a bit of padding. Otherwise, my foot would be so red. But, you know, when I was 11, 12, I was banging them from the sideline with bare feet, and that was one of my things. I'd be betting kids, you know, I can kick from the sideline with bare feet, you know, for a Coke or something like that. Yeah, I think early on I knew I wanted to be a goal kicker. I was quite young when my dad built me some posts in the paddock next to the house. But then the cows would always come into that paddock once a month for grazing, and they'd rub up against it and break them down. So had to continuously just fix them. But I had a love of kicking, and it was somewhere for me to practice.
Gopperth, first chance at goal for him. He swept it pretty well. It's over.
I'd still remember my first ever kick for the Hurricanes. We'd been in Australia for quite a long time in pre-season, and Ricky Flutie was down to be number one, and Ricky got injured over there, and so, you know, they pretty much said, you know, Colin Cooper was like, you're starting, and then my grandfather passed away, who was, you know, huge into the rugby community, a coastal rugby community back in Taranaki, and I was and ahhing if to go home or not, and my nana rang me and said, there's no way your granddad would want you to come home. You have to play. So that pretty much set the record. It was like, okay, I got to play well. I think it was about 40 out, just on the left. It's my first ever kick for the Hurricanes. So I'm like nervous. I can probably out the corner of my eye see like all the Hurricane stars there thinking, you better get this. I can't remember if it was windy or not, but I've struck it, and it's sort of, my balls don't move much because it hit them too hard, and I think it was going right, and it just drifts back in to the left, and I got it, and I'd always thought, the old granddad helped me out on that one, so that one sort of always will stay with me. Obviously, coming over to Newcastle, it was always, Johnny Wilkinson. You're replacing Johnny Wilkinson. You're doing this. He's this guy. You know, but I was still young. I was like, well, I'm Jimmy Gopperth. I'm going to try and put my own stamp on the team. And yeah, I remember the first game against Leeds. It was a bit up and down. I missed quite a few kicks, and the crowd was silent when I was kicking. And it did throw me a bit. It took me a while to get used to, because in New Zealand, if I was goal kicking in New Zealand, the whole crowd have got cowbells. We had a guy called Possum that was in a cherry picker at one end with a chainsaw. He was like going, "Rrrr!" Like, it was the loudest thing you can ever have. Everyone booing you to come over and kick. And I can hear myself breathing. I was nearly looking around going, what's going on? Like, I remember after a couple of weeks, I was sort of asking some of the Newcastle fans, it's all right, you can be noisy if you want to, but they're like, no, this is the way we do it. I got over it a couple of games in and got used to it, and ended up being, personally, a pretty good season.
Stephen Donald's got plenty of experience. Here's his kick. And he's nailed it.
Obviously, Stephen Donald would have set up here, and it's your bread and butter. It's what you practice all the time. It's your first sort of, when I warm up for games, I'm not too far off this position. So he would have felt pretty comfortable. You know, if it was me, I would have been very comfortable, but it's a World Cup, isn't it? So it's a different ball game. Yeah, I seen a podcast when Beaver done it. He said, straight down the middle, but he said a few of the boys afterwards said, mate, it only just snuck in that right post. And I've seen it, and it did. It just snuck it in, but yeah, that's the kind of man Beaver is. He's a great lad, and I was really happy for him. Every kid wants to be an All Black. It's just the way our country is. And in 2011, when all the boys got injured, you know, everyone was like, oh, yeah, that could have been you, but you don't know that. You don't know what your form was like at the time. You know, there were some great young kids coming through. So, yeah, there's always what-ifs in sport. Would I have liked to be an All Black? Of course, 100%. It's just, that's the way life goes. I was lucky enough to put on the black jersey in the New Zealand schools team, New Zealand under-21s, junior All Blacks. So, I've got to wear the black jersey and do the haka and stuff, but, it's just, I didn't quite get to the top.
Gopperth goes back. Here we go for the drop goal. Jimmy Gopperth, he's looking. That's wide.
I love my time at Leinster. It was the same as when I went to Newcastle. It was like I was following Johnny's around. Johnny Sexton left and I'm coming in, and the kick I'd always want to have again is the drop kick against Toulon in regular time before, we ended up going extra time and losing an extra time. Drop kick's always a pressure moment. They have to be so precise, and I remember just watching it back. Well, I just felt like I had a lot of pressure on me, and I just come up and out of it a little too early, and it just drifted off to the right side, and it's one of those ones I'm like, if it just went through the middle, it could have been in the final. Most of my training's done at night time, just before bed. So I'll just lie in bed, visualise. So for instance, if we were playing Bath this weekend, I've been there loads of times, so I know the stadium. Visualise the stadium, visualise I've had kicks there before, visualise those kicks, and just see the ball going through the post. Only 3 or 4, that way if I'm doing it all the time, when I step up to the ball, sometimes I put the ball on the tee, I look up and I'm seeing it already go through, and then I just back my technique. So that's a big tool to really sort of take your kicking to the next level, is visualisation. It's huge.
Jimmy Gopperth, deep breath for a place in the semi-final of the Champions Cup.
From a good point of view, kick that I'd always want to do again, Exeter, quarter-final at home. It wasn't just the fact I got it over, it was the fact that I think we were, I know the scoreline, we were maybe 13 points down. I remember the boys were done a little move, and Charles scored in the corner. I took myself straight to the spot, and I remember standing there straight away and visualising the kick. I just went and stood there, and I just started breathing just to calm myself down. That's why I didn't want to celebrate, because I knew I'd just get too excited. I knew it was a big moment. I knew the score, I knew the kick had to go over. I think the way I celebrated was not just for me, it was for everyone, of how we came back as a team and really fought to win that game. I've never really celebrated a kick, but I've ended up putting my arms up doing some kind of duck walk, and then I've got Lee Blackett hanging off the back. It was crazy, and then the boys just went mental, so it was pretty special. Being a goal kicker, you're always going to have the highs and lows. If you miss a kick to win, or to draw, or get a bonus point, people look at you. In the other spec, you could get all your kicks and have the worst game in the world and get man of the match. If you're a goal kicker, you have to enjoy that pressure. If you don't enjoy that pressure, there's no point being a goal kicker. If you've got any doubt whatsoever, you're creeping into you, you've got no chance.
And Jimmy Gopperth, as he has done all afternoon, right on target.
That game at Saracens, it was my 100th game for the club, and Lee was like, look, I want you to go down, captain the boys. We are going to take a young team down because we need to rest a few guys. And I was like, sweet, let's go. And we called it a smash and grab. We literally didn't stay down. We got up in the morning, we drove down the same day, played, smashed and grabbed, and took off and went home. I knew I had to play well, not just for me, just to lead the lads. It was pretty special to score 23 points that day, and I remember there was one kick just before half time. It was really breezy, and I just smoked it low and hard, and it just drilled straight through. And we got a brilliant victory against a side who had, I think, 11 internationals in at the time. It was a brilliant day and set us up to go to the final. Someone told me the other day I've just become the highest point scorer for Wasps in history, so I suppose that's pretty cool. Something to leave my name on and let some of the young boys chase. So as long as I leave here and in my mind, and I suppose my teammates knowing that I've contributed to the team and throughout my 7 years here, then it leaves me happy and allows me to move on to my next adventure with a bit of pride that what I've done here.
Jimmy Gopperth, flawless from the tee, a true Wasps legend.
I'll always be kicking with my tee. The Jimmy G2 till I die.